This mechanism comes from the most amazing hide and seek counting book by Robert Crowther, and the copy I've got is really rather old and battered. So the mechanism I want to look at is this one, which is a form of dissolve where the strips flip. This should have 3 strips, but as I say, the book is a bit old and battered, so now there's only 2. So this is, as you pull it, the strips flip over and change the image. It's quite a pleasing mechanism, really. That's why I thought it should be included. The bit you pull is above the page. What keeps the whole thing down, if you look at it end on, you can see under here, I'll pull it up and you can see, there are these strips. There's one on each side. They're stuck to the middle of the frame, and then each end of the strip goes under the page, and that's what holds the whole contraption down. So on my one, I was trying to be a bit more clever. Instead of having strips on each side, I thought, well, I'll have one at the top and one at the bottom that will hold it down. But as you can see, I got the measurements a bit wrong. And when you pull this, you can see it shows here as well. So, you know, maybe I should have made the whole thing bigger or something. But the basic idea, you can see the way the strips flip over. And another problem with this is if you pull it really hard, the frame starts distorting. So not an entirely satisfactory experiment, but, you know, I'll show you how it works. Here are the strips. I'm only going to use 2. They're 8 centimeters wide up to the end. These lines, they're not creased. And then there's like 3 sections beyond it. They're each 1.5 centimeters high and 1.5 centimeters wide. So in effect, they're 3 squares. And these are creased. So on each side, these will fold. So just fold these over. So the frame is, I made the whole thing 12 centimeters across by 12. The width of the window is 8 centimeters. The height of the window is 6 centimeters. And then you can see these are the places where you stick the tabs. So if I take the first one, it's going to stick like that. These shaded bits are where these top 2 tabs stick onto. You can also see I've actually cut the top of this, cut it away a little bit so it doesn't clash with the edges of the frame. So I'll just put a little bit of glue on those 2, one on each side. So a bit of glue there and a bit of glue there. And then you can glue the next one the same underneath it. Just make sure those creases are working well. So that's going to go in that position underneath it. I might just take a little slice out of the bottom of the frame because it looks as though this is going to be overlapping, which probably wouldn't be good. So I'll just take a millimetre or 2 out of that just to make sure it works smoothly. Right, let's see that now. Yeah, that looks good. So I can do the same. Bit of glue there, bit of glue there. So they fill in, and now I had a sheet prepared. I'd marked where to put a slit to copy this one, but as you can see, I got it slightly wrong, so I might as well just use this other sheet and stick it on. It's going to be stuck on like that. You just put the glue on these other 4 tabs. Make sure it doesn't ooze too much and gum anything else up. So let's just test that. Yeah, that's gonna work fine. So I prepared this strip for pulling it with, rather than just having it built into the frame like the example I showed you. It's creased down the middle, make it double thickness, double strength, glue it. Make sure that's flat. Now that this glue has had time to go off, let's just check that is going to move the way we want it to. Yeah, that seems good. Where's it going to go to when it's pulled down? I think ideally I would have stuck the whole thing a bit further up the page. It's okay. So the piece that you pull it, I'm going to stick onto here. So we're going to want it sticking through the page about here. Should be okay. I'll just do it roughly by eye. This is the width of it. So it's going to be there. Make that as a cut. And at the top end, let's see where it comes back up to. That one's going to be something like this. Can make those slits. Cut them back a little bit so the card can lift up and let it through, and the same down here. Cut that back as well. Now just for ease, I'm just going to cut this in half. I don't think it matters too much. I'm going to stick one end through here and stick it onto there. Bit of glue on it. And at the other end, so when that pulls, that's all right. At the other end, this is going to stick on there, go through. What I'd thought was I'd got an extra one of these. I thought we could just reinforce the whole thing and make it a little better. Just to make sure nothing clashes, I'm just going to make the window that little bit bigger, just to make sure there's no confusion. And now before I glue that down, I think this glue's had time to go off so I can test it. Looks good. So now I'll stick this one over the whole lot just to make it look a bit better. So just a bit of glue all the way around. So it flips. The one thing I haven't done is change the image. Just do some squiggly so you know there's something different. Highly artistic. And one other thing probably is just to cut these lengths down. When it's all the way down to here, it goes to there. So when it's up, yeah, we can cut it off at that point so it never appears. There it is. I suppose ideally this frame would be a little bit bigger to hide that bit. As we saw in the book, there was a different method of holding the whole thing down, but up to you, you can play around with it. That's it really. I think that's the third type of dissolve I've done. The others are more to do with planes sliding over each other, whereas this one is one that actually flips. And yeah, I've only done 2 here. In the book there were 3 originally, but I don't see any reason why you couldn't do any number really. You could probably play around with it, you know, and have them next to each other. Just, it has potential, let's say that.